Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing fine. It's Wednesday, 4/15/20, and I'm Mr. Hennessy. And today we're going to look at parallelograms. We already talked about what parallelograms are. They kind of look like a rectangle that kind of got pushed and squished over. In fact, if you look at this little rectangle right here, actually it's a parallelogram, but if I cut right along that dotted line right there, hopefully you could see that. I cut that part off right there and I moved it over to right here. It would fit right in that space and you see it would make a rectangle. And so when we do these problems up here, they give us a picture like this. The way to find the area in that is, and remember that the area is counting squares. And so what they really want to know is if they took this and cut it into squares all the way across like this and all the way up like this, what we want is a fast way to count those squares. Now, when you look at the shape, you want to look for the right angle right there. That's the most important thing. Look for that first, because the area for a parallelogram is base times height. And the base and height will always meet at that. Sometimes they might stick a number out here like 11 centimeters. You don't want to use that. We want to use the straight up and down height where the dotted line is there. And so I would go 12 is my base, times my height was 10. Kind of hard to see now, but 10. And 12 times 10 equals 120. And then you need to put your units in. It's going to be centimeters squared, because remember we're counting squares, and so that's how big the squares are, a centimeter by a centimeter. And so this is your answer, and that's the formula used for a parallelogram. Now sometimes they'll kind of be a little bit difficult, and they'll show you something like this. There's your parallelogram right here, but they put a bunch of dotted lines in and dotted lines on the outside. Well, the formula still is area equals base times height. Just like it is for a rectangle. And that's why I showed you a little thing where I cut it off. It's the same formula as a rectangle. So anyways, there's all kinds of numbers here. The base is actually the base of this right here. You don't include the 6 because this isn't part of what we want to count. We just want to count the squares that are going to fit in here when I go to cut it up. Okay, so those are the squares I want to count. Therefore, I need to use the 5. And a lot of people think they use the 15. But no, you want the height straight up and down. See over here where the 12 is, if I put a dotted line in right here inside, you would say that this 12 is the same exact distance as the 12 right here. So again, look for the right angle. I'm going to use the 5 and the 12. And 5 times 12 is 60. And then that would be feet squared. Make sure you put your units in, you guys. I want to see your work and your unit. Over here, I just threw one up because I threw one in as a fraction. One was 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. Here's your right angle. And so it's base times height. So I just took 6 1/4 times 5 1/2, changed it to improper, did my math, and came up with 8 and 19/32. So basically this whole page, you're just going to use base times height, look for the right angle. And thanks to all you guys that did your homework yesterday. Most of you are done.